Hey everybody, accidentally switched to the wrong screen because I am such a pro. I am your host and game master for tonight, Dan Gaslin at MadSciDM on Twitter, and we are here to play some Invisible Sun with some returning players and see what shenanigans we can get up to in the actuality today. So I'm just going to jump right in and toss it over to everyone to introduce themselves, and why don't I toss it over for Ollie?
Hi, my name is Chase. I will be playing Ollie today, and Ollie is a connected, ardent apostate who wallows in corruption.
Excellent.
Want me to give a little bit more detail rundown,
Yeah,
or
why don't you describe him a little bit, what he's all
yeah?
about?
Uh, Ollie is to lean into the wallows in corruption. A mess. Tends to look like he hasn't slept in a day, hasn't bathed in a week, barely put together, chain smoking. Uh, He is a journalist by trade. He's a paparazzi. He writes for tabloids. He's not a savory character. He doesn't interact with savory characters, but maybe he aspires to be better than himself. Editor's note: he does not.
Excellent. All right. Well, that is always an interesting character to have in Invisible Sun. I will toss it over now to Val.
Hey, that's me. I'm Val at Val W. Foreman. Just everyone is just doing Matthew's intros because we're all just copies of Matthew. Hi everybody, I'm Val. I'm the Nerdy Niffler on Twitter. I use she/her pronouns, and today I will be playing Memory, who is a bizarre empathic duetic who provides a vessel for spirits. She is someone who has no memories of her own that she can recall, but is made up of all like a tapestry of memories from all of the spirits she has been a vessel for over the years. How long has they been alive? Who knows? And they look a lot like Death from the Sandman comics, because that's where a lot of the inspiration for this character came from. And she uses she/they pronouns.
Excellent. All right. And Forda.
Hi, I'm Forda. I'll be playing Sivan, and she is hold on a moment, an itinerant ardent weaver who channels strength and skill. She's something. Her appearance is such that she fluctuates her height and weight depending on the build of whatever she's borrowed. So she could look like just about anybody, except that her hair is dark, her eyes are dark, and that's the only thing that stays the same, I guess.
Excellent. Yeah, I've got a mental image of her parkouring around Fartown.
Yeah.
With the whole channel strength and skill thing. I just have a picture of her being very, very competent.
As of right now, she's got a very lithe build, but by the end of the night, she might not.
Excellent. All right. So, we will pick up where we frequently pick up on Vislae in the Nebulous Quirk, which is the coffee shop in the ground floor of the large apartment complex where all of you live. You had some adventures. We'll say it's been a few weeks, because that's pretty normal in the actuality, is to have sort of more extended periods of time in between play. So it's been a few weeks since you had your little experience with the demon that looked like a chair that wanted meat, that was chasing a two-headed cat with a baby strapped to it. The two-headed cat was actually the caretaker for said baby. So you ended up killing the demon, impressing an angel who we'll see. But Key and that angel have presumably at this point already gone on their date. You haven't seen Key in a while, so you don't know how that went. And you helped the cat get the baby home. So all in all, it was pretty successful. And in fact, when you got the baby safely returned to where they were going, the person who greeted you and the cat was quite impressed and gave all of you a mage coin in thanks. So you can mark that on your sheets. There's a couple of different currencies in Saturnine, and basically in the actuality. The common currency everybody uses are these orbs. They're either made of glass, crystal, or gem. Basically, just picture like you're constantly walking around with a bunch of marbles on you. Probably very, very small. Like a glass orb is like a dime, roughly. And that's the common currency, but Vislae have their own currency that they use, and this is what's used for dealing in magic and favors and things with other Vislae, and those are mage coins. And it's like a fat, goldish coin that actually has magical residue imbued in it.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. So, as you are in the Nebulous Quirk for the evening, happen to fortuitously all be there, what's everybody doing? What are you doing while you're hanging out this evening in the Nebulous Quirk? And what are your plans for the evening, so to speak, in Fartown?
As far as Steven, she keeps alternating between like fidgeting with that coin, like rolling it between her fingers, and occasionally like, for want of anything better to do, putting it between her teeth. And then like sitting on the ground, gripping her ankles and just kind of rolling along on the floor because she really wants to know how that date went, but she hasn't had any news.
Yeah, you haven't seen Key in like at least a couple of days. What about Memory?
Memory is a question for like Ollie. Does Ollie have any photographs?
Yes.
Memory is looking through the photographs. If Ollie is okay with
Did
that.
I cut out?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I think I cut out there for a second. Sorry.
I say, if Ollie has photographs, then Memory would probably be looking through as long as Ollie is okay with that.
Yeah, like, most of the photographs that I have are going to be... The photograph isn't the salacious thing. The lies that eventually become truths because of how the actuality works that are going to be next to them are the salacious thing. So the photos, feel free to look through. If you come across one you think is interesting, maybe it'll be a little bit of inspiration for me.
Yeah. So I was say, so she's just looking through photographs because she finds them completely fascinating that you can capture a moment in a photo. So she's just looking through them, and trying to think. Sees one that is a huge spire, and it has around it these kind of shimmering sparks that look like falling stars that are like in mid-fall. And she holds it up to you and goes, "What's that one?"
Ollie, completely unawares of any artistry in any picture that he takes, says, "Oh, that's a Jaren of a pretty large neighborhood in the Marquis Quarter. He cheated on his wife last year."
Fascinating. She's just so happy looking through all these photographs.
Also, a lot of the photos probably do have like a slight artistic tinge to it. I would never admit that there's any, like, draw to create something beautiful. Vislae, no. I would not do that. But
Vislae, no. Occasionally she holds them up to Siobhan and just goes, "Look, they're so pretty."
Uh-huh. And then I go back to rolling around on the floor.
So the picture memory that you're holding up currently, so this is not the gerent and his cheating wife. This is another picture, perhaps of a location in Fartown. Ollie, what's in this picture?
So, probably a busy photo of the square near the portal of Fartown, the various bookshops, coffee shops, etc. The personal content is probably an upper-end professor of the Vancian College speaking with one of the bookstore owners about something, unsure of what, but in hushed tones. Why would they have to be so quiet when it comes to books? They've got plenty of books. Other than that, it's probably just a busy day downtown, bunch of people buying stuff at the penny markets and stuff, a bunch of Vancian students at the libraries, a lot of action going on. It's yet to be cropped.
All right, excellent. So the reason I ask, Sivan, when you're looking at this picture, as much as distracted as you are, trying to contain yourself, with finding out how this date went, your eye is drawn to part of the picture. Because you notice that part of the picture is moving. You can see like a flicker of movement in the background, in behind, like the Vancian professor who's talking with this bookshop owner. Outside of, and you catch a glimpse of the name of the bookshop overhead. It's called the Unturned Page in this square near the gate that goes out to the Hollows. But yeah, you catch just a flicker of movement as you're turning to like sort of go back to rolling around on the floor out of the corner of your eye.
Hold on. And I kind of reach for it, like I'm going to take it, but then I pause because like just snatching things is not cool. But like, if granted, I will take the photo and take a closer look. Thank you. And I'm going to squint real close at what I thought was movement, but like I'm not entirely certain.
Yep. So you can sort of see this like blur and shifting shape, but it's like your eye doesn't want to focus on it. It's constantly sort of sliding off of the edges of whatever it is that's kind of moving around, and it's not staying in one place, although it's still in the vicinity of this bookshop.
So I'm going to practice a stargazing trick, and I'm not going to look at the movement. I'm going to look to general vicinity of the movement and like see what I can make out, if it becomes a little clearer or not.
Yeah, so it does. You think you're on the right track. It starts to focus a little bit, but it's still blurry. You get the idea. And let's lean into, so you're a weaver, and you have a level of skill in understanding non-codified magic. This seems to you like this is some sort of magical effect that is obscuring what's hidden in the picture. So why don't we see what else you might know about it? So I'm going to say that this is... thinking of the sort of divination and commonality of information. I'm gonna set this as just a level. This will be a level 3 challenge. So so it's not, not too hard. And you have one level of skill in understanding non-codified magic. This doesn't seem like it's a spell. It seems like it's something else. So that will start your adventure at 1.
All right.
And if you have any other, you might want to. There might be something you want to attempt as a weaver with your threads. You might have an incantation or ephemera, or you might just want to apply sort of skill to this. How do you want to approach sort of the understanding about this magic?
So a quick question.
Yes.
What is it, bennies? Those
Yes.
replenish each session, or?
Yeah, because we've had sufficient time in between, they should reset to full.
All right, then I will adjust those. I think I'd like to use a skill. And I don't know if perception would be a better option, or like intellect or something.
Yeah, so I think this will be about understanding the nature of the magical effect. So intellect, I think, would apply here.
Alrighty.
So,
Okay.
yeah, so you can spend a bene from intellect. So then our adventure is 2, so that subtracts off. So 3, and so we go down to a challenge of 1. So you basically just don't roll 0 or 10, depending on your dice and the numbers on it, on the D10 roll.
Let me whip out my D10. Excitement. You're not a 10. Where the heck did you go? Bottom of the bag, as always. Where everything goes. There we go. Ooh, my trusty red one. 5.
Okay. So because you're sort of taking this approach of not looking directly at it, and the fuzziness of what it is, it's a natural effect of a type of spirit, and it is a spirit from the gray, strangely enough. So the gray sun is the place also known as shadow. It is the sun of lies and not truth. And it is where Vislae, many Vislae, including yourself, hid for a long period during and after the war that you've only recently come back from. And to place that, the gray is the world that we as players inhabit. So if you want to think about what the gray is like, just picture where we live now, and that's the gray. And so you've recently returned to the true reality, which is the totality of the actuality. And so this is some kind of spirit that embodies the gray. So it's a spirit of lies, and its natural sort of magical perception prevents it from being captured or photographed.
So we got a liar in the photo. And that's just going to be what I call these spirits from now on. They're liars.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna point at the vicinity of it to memory, and I'm gonna be like, you're good with spirits, right? Check this out. Check out this liar.
As soon as you say spirit, memory's like, and gonna look at the photo of the liar.
And while this is happening, I'm relaying the things that I know about the thing that that Daniel just relayed, because I'm sorry, my brain is Swiss cheese right now.
That's okay. And memory is a goetic, so knowing things about spirits, like you happen to recognize this magical effect and what it comes from, but this is the kind of thing where, memory's knowledge might be invaluable. So, do we want to see what memory might know about the spirits known as liars?
Yeah, at this point, I've been messing around with notes and pictures and stuff, but I'm slowly turning my chair, just sort of like, what?
So got understanding people's motives and persuasions. I have speak with spirits. So and call upon a spirit.
Yeah, I mean, you can indeed, if you wished, you could summon something to give you information as a goetic.
I kind of really want to do that. It sounds like such a bad idea, but it's so on brand.
You could actually no, well, you don't know its name, so that might be difficult. I was gonna say you could attempt to summon the particular liar in question. You don't know its name, but you might be able to summon it even without that, because you do have this picture.
I will try and summon the spirit.
Okay. So this will be...
Are we doing this
somewhat...
right here in the coffee shop?
I assume they're used to it by now.
Yeah.
It is Fartown.
I'm going to get a refill of coffee so that I'm at least 20 feet away from wherever this thing appears.
Yeah. So, Val, you might want to take your 10 minutes to inscribe a protective circle. That is something you can also do as a goetic.
I will definitely. So as soon as Memory gets this photo and sees Spirit, you kind of see them go, okay, don't worry, I got you. And then starts making the circle. She goes, and the moth tattoos on her back lift up and start to help ringing the circle, and she starts making this protective circle around, just in the center of the coffee shop, as you do.
Should it be in or out of the circle?
I was gonna say try and contain some of the spirit within the circle.
Okay, so I should be out of it.
Just because I've just seen Supernatural where they do this, and they try and summon spirit within it.
You can do either a circle that you are inside, or one that you summon an entity into. So in your case, when summoning, you want to do it so that you're going to summon the entity into the circle. I can picture Memory like pushing chairs and tables out of the way to clear big enough space, flipping back the rug, and like
just flipping back everything like they own the place. Like just as soon as they're in like a very focused mindset of communicating with the new spirit, they're like, everything else is secondary. Furniture can be replaced.
Get rid of the chairs. They can't know we sit.
They can't know we sit. Oh my god, I love that
video. There's a touch of the blue to this one.
Absolutely. Okay, so you're also a first degree goetic. You've got a limit on what you can summon. But I think you're going to be fine here. Let me just double check. Alright, first degree goetic up to level 3. Yep. And you can do... Now, so the interesting thing is so you've got a couple of different types of summoning you can do for the purposes. And there's probably the one that's closest. So you can ask for advice from your summoned entity. So like it can be a counselor. You can ask for help. So to basically aid you in one task. Or you can ask it to guard or spy. But I think in your case that counsel would be the closest. Because you ask it for advice, so you can't necessarily directly ask it for information about itself, but if you're clever as a goetic with the kind of advice you're asking, right, you might get useful information out of it. Alright, so this will be interesting because if you're trying to summon a specific creature, it can resist. If you're summoning something generic, you just want to summon a Spirit of the Gray. In general, one will be summoned, but if you're summoning a specific one, it might not work.
I realized Memory probably didn't hear what Forda was saying, like Siobhan was saying to explain all of this. Just saw a spirit in the photo, was like, time to summon!
Yeah, so I mean, you could take either approach here. You could try and summon this specific one from the picture, or you could summon a liar in general, like a liar spirit from the Gray, and ask it advice, right?
I will try and summon the one in the photo.
Okay, perfect. All right.
This
So
cannot backfire in any way.
Not at all.
It's the worst that could happen.
All right. So it is. All right. So it is going to be. It's a level 2 spirit. So it's not. Super potent. So you first have to make a sorcery action with that as the challenge. So it's a level 2 challenge, right? Because you're trying to summon this specific creature. You do have to spend, I think, that amount in sorcery. No, a level 2 challenge. You can spend sorcery to do it. You could just roll it, or you've got your venture, right? So you could spend up to 1 sorcery in this case to reduce its difficulty.
I would like to spend a sorcery point.
Okay. Excellent. So go ahead and spend a sorcery. So that would reduce it to a 1. So on your dice roll, you just don't roll a 0.
Let's see how that goes. This is a D10, right?
That is correct.
Don't fail me. Ha! I got a 7.
Okay. So what does it look like when you're sort of focusing on this picture and then summoning this spirit?
When Memory starts focusing and summoning the spirit, again, the moths are swirling around this protective circle, and you see Memory, the rune on her face starts to glow, but then all of these runes under her skin that you can't see start to grow this very bright blue, and she starts whispering in this language that is incomprehensible and just a garbled mess of things, and starts to rise slightly with the energy of this, and everything in the room starts to shake a little bit, and her body is just vibrating this blue energy with the runes under her skin as she summons the spirit.
All right. And so in the middle of this summoning circle, the air sort of thickens, and there's a popping sound as this vaporous material sort of condenses and solidifies, but into a shape that you can't quite focus on. It's got a humanoid appearance, but imagine that you took a half dozen images of different people, and very different people, right? So different genders, different ethnicities, just very different appearances. And you layered each of them on top of each other, superimposed. And which one was sort of at the fore flickered rapidly between them, just on shuffle. And then overlay all of that with flickering snow and static, as if you had your TV channel. You don't get this much these days, but back in the day, tuned to a channel that you don't get, and it's all distorted and wavery and staticky, and so it's really hard to focus on it. You get glimpses of detail here and there, but it constantly shifts. And in this kind of tonally shifting voice that I could not even hope to emulate, it sort of dusts its hands and looks around and goes, "Right then, touch dramatic there, but
What's life if
I'm
you're
here.
not a little bit dramatic?
That's right. All right, so now what you have to do is engage in colloquy. So you have to attempt to convince this creature, this spirit that you have summoned, to do what you want. So you've got a couple of different approaches you can take. So you can attempt persuasion. You can just ask it nicely to give you help. You can bribe it, which you have to sort of think of a suitable bribe for the spirit of the Grey. You can coerce it. You can try and trick it. And those are the main things that you can try and do.
Memory is sort of a very a very friendly relationship with spirits. She thinks of them. She understands spirits more than she understands other human beings, and she feels more comfortable around them. So I think they would try and persuade.
Okay. And how are you going to try and persuade it?
I will give them a fruit basket. No, I'm not going to do that.
That would be a bribe.
I take one of the fruit baskets and eat it. I'm going to go, music. Spirit of the Grey, I come to you seeking counsel. I wish to ask a question so that my friends and I may help restore some order.
Okay. So the way that the persuasion works is you're going to make 3 distinct persuasion actions, and you're going to lay out through those what your request is, right? And try and convince it. So that's basically the first one, like help me and my friends. I think it is where it's a spirit of the Grey and it's lies. It's inherently somewhat untrustworthy. So I think persuasion is something that it's a little bit resistant to. But not, it's not necessarily unhelpful. Lies may not be the truth, but they can still be useful. So I'm going to say that it's going to shift it from a level 2 challenge for persuasion to a 3. So not twice as hard, but it's a little bit more difficult.
Whilst floating in midair and glowing with these blue runes, Memory's gonna duck over their shoulder and be like, "Oh yeah, so what were we trying to do here? Sorry, I got a bit caught up."
No, that's fair. That's fair.
I didn't have anything in mind. I just wanted to show you that there was a liar.
Oh, well, we could try and find this bookstore.
I'm in the business of liars. Liars are my people.
Maybe we can find out what the liar heard or didn't hear.
That's a great idea.
I like that.
Spirit of the Grey, you were talking in hushed whispers to someone. That person may want to spread lies and deceit about you. What could you have possibly been talking to them about?
All right, so let's roll the first persuasion action from the first thing. So you have a level of skill in persuasion. So your adventure is starting at 1, and you can spend from your interaction pool.
I think I should do that. YOLO.
So you can spend a maximum of 1 bene because you don't have the expanded endeavor.
I'll spend 1 bene.
So if you spend 1, so that's 2, so it takes it from a 3 to a 1. So again, as long as you don't roll 0.
Ha! An 8! Every time I'm waiting for that 0.
Okay. And so the second persuasion is you're trying to prey on the fact that it should help you by giving you advice, because it won't necessarily answer questions, right? It'll give you advice. So it won't necessarily tell you what it was doing, but you can get tricky with how you word things.
Yeah.
But you're sort of the second stage of your persuasion, I like it, is sort of like, well, if you don't help us, like, this person might tell lies about you. So I like that. So that's a second persuasion action. So the same thing, you've got a skill of 1, and you can spend from interaction if you wish.
I want to do that. That's another 8.
Okay, excellent. And so now your third sort of persuasion attempt should sort of feature a little bit more firmly the wording of the advice you're going to ask it about that you hope will reveal information about what's going on.
Okay, you. You know what? It's in your brain. I've got like, where should we go if we wanted to learn more, but trying to phrase it in a way that works.
And it's fine if you just tell me your intent. We don't have to figure out if we were in a bit of a touchy situation and you were making a deal with a demon where the letter of the law essentially really matters, then we would get into the fine points of exactly how something was worded. But I think your intent here is enough.
Yeah, the intent is trying to get where would we go if we wanted to learn more about the whispering? So what they were talking about.
Okay, perfect. I like it. All right, so you can go ahead and make your third persuasion attempt here. Same thing, you've got the 1 level of skill, and you can spend from interaction.
Yay, for interaction. 7!
Okay, excellent. All right, so the spirit sort of, rubs the back of its head, sort of in a gesture, and says, "Well, I don't see any harm, I suppose. Well, if you wanted to learn more, I wasn't the one doing the talking. I was just doing the hiding."
Of course, I understand.
But if you want to learn more, just I'd say go down to the unturned page and look for the hidden door.
Thank you so much. You've been such a great help.
It'll be hard to find, but it moves around. But you should find it in the vicinity of the unturned page.
I hope someone was writing that down, because I did not write that down. Door in vicinity!
Ollie writes everything down.
Everything. This entire conversation. They've just said,
a couple things that didn't happen in this conversation are in there, but don't worry about it.
This is Ollie's side job of writing noir detective fiction based on his life.
Oh, gods.
It's like Castle.
I'm so excited. I have an idea for when we get there.
I'm so excited for your idea when we get there.
From this circle, Memory is going to gather the moths and then just go, and it's going to cut a line through this circle. The moths are going to swirl, and the spirit disappears, and the circle disappears, and they fly back onto her back. And then she drops, and the glowing stops, and her skin returns looking like normal. Her rune on her face turns back to normal. And she turns around in this like chaotic mess of things, like coffee cups that have shaken during the summoning, like chairs and tables that she's like cast aside, and rugs. Turns back and looks like Ollie and Siobhan, completely unaware of all of this, and just like, let's go solve a mystery! Yay!
And Memory, there's a behind you, and the barista, whose name is not Gunther, is standing there and sort of like shoves a broom and dustpan into your hands, and gestures at all of the like broken coffee cups and things that have like fallen, and says, "What did I tell you about drawing on the floor?"
Only do it after hours.
That's right. Now clean up this mess.
Okay, that's fair. I just was like cleaning up this mess. And then when they leave though, she's like, I'm borrowing the broom, bye, and just sits on it like a witch and tries to float.
Seeing actually people flying around on brooms and things like that is pretty normal in Fartown. Like you'll see someone driving in like a New York City like yellow taxi cab, and you might see like a black London taxi cab, and then you might see someone on a flying carpet. Like all of that is possible.
She gets on this broom and inexplicably like pulls out a black cat from nowhere, and puts it on the front like Kiki's delivery service, and just floats alongside Ollie and Siobhan.
All right. So the card, by the way, that I had played to start the session, which I should have told everyone, was actually started with the Raven, whose meaning is jealousy, trickery, and secrets. So that is why we got a Spirit of the Grey. And we're now going to play another card as you all leave, and I presume go to that square near the hollows where the unturned page is.
Yep.
No reason not to. Like, Spirit of the Grey is likely to lie to us, but if there's a secret there, it might not necessarily be that one. But
I mean, they probably lied to us. Yeah, I remember saying, spirits of the Grey are kind of tricky, so they were probably lying to us, but with a slight grain of truth in there, because liars can't resist being slightly arrogant.
yes, 100% true.
You said that with such authority that I'm a little suspicious.
Reasonable.
To the bookshop.
To the bookshop.
To the bookshop.
All right. So as we change scenes and locations, I have played a new Sooth card, because that is what we do in Invisible Sun to see what may happen as we, as significant people enter or leave scenes, or as we go to new places. And I have played the Inevitable Cataclysm. So magic of the gold is enhanced, magic of silver is hindered, and the card's values are visions, swans, blades, and water. So if those are your objects and animals that you'll see on your character sheet in the section called Heart and Soul, if those match up, then your ventures right now while this card are in play are all at +1. So remember those as we attempt any actions. But the meanings of the Inevitable Cataclysm is bad luck, endings, inevitability, and breaking of relationships. While we fear the cataclysm, it is inevitable. We can't prevent it, and it's difficult to see this card as a positive one.
But not in parts. No, I'm just really glad we didn't bring Key onto this if this is breaking up relationships.
Oof. You know.
He just had the date.
All right. So you have arrived at this bustling square. There's essentially sort of a bit of a market. This is, if there were tourist traps in Fartown, this is exactly where they would be, because this is the only entrance between Fartown and the rest of Saturnine, since Fartown sort of sits in its own pocket dimension. So in the middle of the square is a big arch, kind of like the Arc de Triomphe, like just this big arch, probably a bit smaller, that you can walk through. Like vehicles can travel through, but nothing big. The train, for instance, does not come to Fartown. Although you've heard rumors about the abandoned train station where the train was supposed to come before the war. Station 13. And it's nearby, but this square has people like Vislae and non-Vislae alike. Like I said, the penny markets are here. There are stalls that sell like mementos from the Grey. That's kind of a thing that people trade in occasionally. And tons and tons and tons of bookstores. There's a heavy concentration of bookstores here. One of them is, of course, the Unturned Page. And there's lots of people moving around and shopping in this place.
Do we want to head directly to the Unturned Page? Or do we want to walk in very nonchalantly? Or fly in on a broom very nonchalantly?
I'm gonna actually try and apply that that stargazing trick and like not look at the thing that I'm looking at. And I'm gonna start trying to see if I can't find this secret door. It might not be a door, but I'm gonna look for it.
See if there's more wire bubbles or whatnot.
Yeah. Because if one was attracted to here, why not more?
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. So let's see what you might have to work with here. Because just looking is probably not going to be enough. You know this is a magical effect. Anything like this is hidden. Mm-hmm. So the best way to tackle it is with magic. Whether that is a specific spell or as a weaver, like weaving something into your approach. Or doing the stargazing trick and just supernaturally enhancing it by applying sortilege. So we have a couple of different options. So if we look at your aggregates, you've got what? Alleyways and challenge?
Mm-hmm.
So alleyways, of course, is all about stealth and trickery and rumors and that sort of thing. And its absences are nobility, health, and prestige. So, like, discovering information is not an absence. It's not necessarily a strength, but the inverse of trickery, one could argue, revealing things could also sort of apply. Or whispers. Whispers is actually perhaps the best one in terms of the qualities of alleyways. And challenges, obstacles, contests, battles, mysteries, understanding, and purpose. So I think you've got some perfect things here that you could apply these Weaver aggregates to help you in your search.
Yes. And I think I'm gonna try and pull from either whispers or betrayal, because I get the feeling that like something is not right here, that like it could be really, it could be used against somebody. So it could be a betrayal finding this thing. So I'm gonna use some of those threads, and I'm gonna pull from some maybe obstacles and understanding, because like something is trying to hide this door.
Yep.
So
absolutely. Yeah, I like the obstacles, mysteries, understanding, whispers, betrayal. Absolutely, I love those. Those are all great. So now we just need to sort of figure out the level of effect that you're going for. Let's see.
In a way, I kind of want to sniff out this door. Like, if it's not directly in front of me, I want to be able to, like, weave my way towards it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to be limited. So the maximum you can do is a level 4 effect. Okay. Because that's how much sorcery you have to spend. And this would be more tying into sort of divination, or actually a level of 4 effect. If you're creating an illusion, a full sensory illusion the size of a small area is a level 4 effect. So if that was effectively the type of thing that you were trying to find, it would make sense for that to also be a level 4 effect. So I think you're going to be maxing yourself out here with a level 4 that you're weaving.
Okay. Huh. Yeah, I'm willing to try it. I mean,
absolutely. You've got your recovery actions anyway, so you can like refuel this this pool pretty easily.
okay. So.
All right, so you can go ahead and spend a 4 sorcery. And all right, so we've got those. So we spent that. And the challenge here, yeah, I mean level 4. You've spent the 4. Basically, it's your venture starts at the amount of sorcery that you spent, right? So the 4 and 4 is essentially going to cancel each other out.
Okay.
So your magic weaves together to find this hidden, obscured door. So what's it look like while you search for it?
So, like, it actually isn't out here proper. It's sort of in one of the books in the displays. And so, like, I pick up this book and I'm looking at it and I realize the unturned page. I get it. And so, like, you got to hold open the book and then you got to drop it. You didn't turn the page.
Okay. So it's inside the shop.
Yep.
All right. So you go in, you're like rifling through the books. Is it like almost like a sensory thing, like you're smelling the direction to go to?
Yeah, or like if you know how sharks can sense like the electrical impulses of other fish?
Yep.
It's like that.
All right. So yeah, you can just feel this tingling sensation on your skin as you sort of hotter towards it, and you pull out this book. And the book is called Ruminations on the Treachery of Images.
Ooh.
That's my kind of stuff.
Yeah. So it's a book about a book.
I love that kind of book.
Yeah. So it like you sort of flip through it a little bit, and it's talking about this book called The Treachery of Images. That is an interesting book because it's tied to a painting from the Gray. This like supposedly famous painting, but we all know that the Gray is lies and not real. But it had some significance that seems to cross over in the actuality. So the painting is called The Treachery of Images, and the book is also called The Treachery of Images. But it might be perhaps better to invert the relationship, because the Gray is a pale reflection of the actuality, and so the painting in the Gray is a pale reflection of this book from Indigo called The Treachery of Images. And and it appears that the book, The Treachery of Images, contains a number of magical rituals that have to do with the nature of lies and truth, which is appropriate. But so this book is just talking about the Treachery of Images. It's someone that apparently once has seen it, but the Treachery of Images is notorious for slipping out of the grasp of its owners, as it wants to spread both its lies and truth throughout the actuality. So it never stays in one place for long. So as you're flipping through this, and then the unturned page, you sort of, as you said, drop the book sort of near the end, and one of the pages, it flips over of its own accord. And as the three of you look down, as it flips over, the page goes from white and then darkens into this impenetrable black. and you can feel that yawing sensation as if you're suddenly standing over a deep pit, as you can just sense that you have opened a doorway. It is dark, no light emanates, and it is just like a square, book-sized hole straight down.
Found it.
Yeah, that works really well. That was so unintentionally great with the memory that memory has. It was exactly this.
What is the memory that memory has that's coming to the fore now?
She has a memory of just sinking into an abyss, constantly falling in this blackness and being too exhausted to even be scared, but just feeling like she's falling from this massive height into this void that's swallowing her. And there's a name that's being yelled, and it feels like her name, but when she tries to say it or when she tries to grasp it, it's like she considers herself a tapestry of memories, and this one feels like it was torn, like there's a hole in it rather than it's been weaved together. So
Okay.
that's what that was so great. You were like, this is a dark portal that goes straight down, and memory's like, oh no.
And so the name eludes memory, right?
Yeah.
Like she can't, every time she focuses on the name, they can't quite get it.
No, yeah.
Perfect.
They can't grasp the memory. It's like one of those things that's on the back of you, like remember it, but you don't at the same time. It's on the tip of your tongue, like right at the edge of your mind.
Yeah. So as this happens, a couple of things. One, the bookstore around you rumbles kind of ominously, and there's rattling as like books start, almost like an earthquake kind of sensation, and like books start falling off of the shelves. And memory, as you're swept up in this memory, sort of, the unbidden sort of arises as this book opens. I am going to need you to make a resist defense action, as the memory itself seems to sort of tear at your mind.
How would one do that?
All right, so the same as anything. So in this case, I'm going to say that the level of effect is a 4. And we would again start building, right? So you can have a skill in the resist defense action, which you don't, I don't believe. No. But you can spend bene, the same. You can spend a bene from a pool, and the pool in this case is intellect.
I would like to spend a bene from that pool.
Okay, so that will reduce the challenge from a 4 to a 3. So you just need to roll 3 or higher. And of course, again, this is actually, yes, this is a magical effect. So you'll actually need more than one success. So you need to be rolling multiple dice. So you can either be casting a spell or using magic, right, to also aid in this action, or you can spend a sortilege. So you just apply some magical energy into your resistance, and then you'll be rolling 2 dice that way.
I'll use sortilege, so I'll apply magical energy resistance.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I got a 1 and a 4.
A 1 and a 4. Okay, so you're kind of swept away in these memories, and as it sort of like rips through your mind, sort of tattering your focus, you take 1 anguish.
I shouldn't be so excited to get an anguish.
3 and you're dead.
It's fine. We're fine.
Death is just a state of being in the actuality anyway. It's not a big deal. You can being a ghost is kind of fun. All right, so you're just overtaken by this. So you're kind of like locked in place as the building is shaking and rattling, and things are falling off of the shelves. The building seems almost in imminent danger of collapsing. Shivan and Ollie, what are you doing?
Oh. Oops.
I'm hard tempted to just kind of dive into this book. I feel like we've ruined enough of the place here, and something down there maybe?
I'm definitely going to enter the book, but like after I look around to verify that anybody in the shop is like they have a chance to get out, probably.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
We should
I
do
think
that
you see
too.
people
Yeah.
fleeing. Yeah. Yeah. Other than the three of you, everyone seems to be exiting.
Okay.
I feel like we could be exiting.
Yep. I'm exiting through there.
All right.
You coming,
Is someone
Memory?
going to pull Memory? Memory is like locked in.
Yeah, we should probably grab her.
Yeah. Come on. And like, I'm gonna gently like take her by the shoulders and kind of usher her along because I have no idea what's going on in her head. So like, I don't know that this is about to be a very probably bad thing.
We also have no idea what's going on in the book, but
I
mean, but that's new and exciting.
Yeah, Memory's just like very locked in dead weight. Just like face is completely blank.
Okay.
Oh.
I'm going to suggest we jump onto each other.
What to each other?
Hold on to each other.
Yes, that sounds sensible.
All right. So as sort of the three of you grab, or the two of you grab Memory and each other and sort of hop and sort of pull yourself into the book, from the outside it would look kind of strange because, you couldn't possibly fit through this space, but you do, and slide into the book and into the hole and find yourself falling through pitch black. What are you doing as you are falling?
Whee!
Some unknown distance.
Love Shivan.
All right.
Shivan just living the best life.
I mean, somebody's got to. It's certainly not me.
I think it's... I'm not sure how anguish works, whether it just freezes me.
Oh, yeah. You're once you start falling, you kind of come out of it. The anguish doesn't do it. It's sort of the magical effect, like briefly froze you in place and gave you enough mental trauma to give you anguish.
Then as Memory is like falling, when they come back to themselves, they feel like they're falling. They feel everything happen very slowly. So they see Ollie and Shivan dropping with them and just kind of like, but it's very far away in their mind. And they can just hear this call again and that feeling of just being so tired and so exhausted, and something feels like it's broken, but they can't figure out where, but they just know it's painful and it's broken, and they hear this person call out to them again, and then suddenly they turn towards Shivan and they say something in words that don't make sense, and as soon as they feel Shivan and Ollie's hand, they come back to themselves with a and they cling really tightly to both of you and just keep clinging and clinging and clinging for as long as they're falling. Like it's a death grip.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh no.
How you doing there, champ?
There's no words. come out. Just this garbled language.
Oh dear.
That's something.
I figured with the flying, heights wouldn't be an issue.
I feel like it's not so much the heights as it is the infinite blackness surrounding us.
and also
Reminding us.
memory was never actually flying. They were like running around on the broom, but not actually flying.
With a cat on the front of it that came from nowhere.
Its memory can't yet fly. Okay. Memory, you also got a snatch of that name. But it was cut off. But instead of being cut off at the beginning, so you don't hear it at all, it seems like it was shifted a little bit, and now it was cut off more in the middle. And so the fragment of a name that you heard is Vero. Or Vero.
Is it V-E-R-O?
V-E-R-O. Yeah.
I don't want to break the atmosphere and everything, but this is so cool.
That's okay. You're allowed to do that. All right. So as all of you like plummet through this darkness, you impact at the bottom, and there's a bit of water but solid surface beneath it that you all impact on. I am going to need everybody to make a withstand defense action from the impact. You've fallen a fair way, so I'm going to set this at a level 5.
Shoot!
Okay.
So you could have a skill in the withstand action, or you can spend Bene from your physicality pool.
I would like to do that.
All right, so let's start with Ollie.
Just spending Bene left, right, and center. I got a 7.
Okay, you're good memory. Ollie?
Spending a Benny from the physicality because I'm a squishy boy.
Yep.
I got a 7.
All right, you're good. And Shivan?
I don't know whether to spend a Benny or can I apply a surviving skill, or is that not quite the same?
So yeah, in this case, it's specifically the skill in withstand.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna spend a Benny from physicality.
Okay.
I'm gonna.
So that
roll
reduces
for
the
it.
challenge to a 4.
What is that? A 6.
Okay, you're good. So you both take like a hard tumble. There's a hard impact. You sort of, but you manage to like tuck and roll and break your fall, and find yourself wet as you sort of roll through, and it's still pitch black, but you're standing on some sort of hard flat surface, but with about like an inch of water that is like lapping over your shoes.
Yucky.
And then it goes still.
And is it still just infinite blackness?
It is.
Can we see each other, or is it just everything?
No, it's like pitch black.
Okay.
You can feel each other. You can hear each other. So I imagine that you managed to regroup, like you kind of break apart as you impact and all tumble. But I'm assuming it's reasonably easy to find each other again.
Well, with the audible splashing.
With the audible splashing and yeah.
Possible muttered swear words.
That's right.
Poppycock applesauce.
It's the benefit of hindsight.
I mean, yeah.
Where I say when memory lands in the water, it's enough or like lands, it's like a jolt. And when they sit back up again, they just they start like just before they find the others, they just kind of close their eyes and go, smell of rain. She asks me a question, and I want to reach for her, but I can't. Newborn baby, tiny in my arms, love like I've never felt before. Smell of apple pie, cinnamon running in the sun. He holds my hand. I keep following him. Just a memory. I am a collection of small and fragile things. I am memory. I am memory. I am memory. And she kind of returns to not normal state of being, because now she has Vero, and so there's something a little bit off about her demeanor, but she's more collected now that she's reconnected with the tapestry in her mind.
There's a series of whispers that come out of the darkness in sort of excuse me, staggered like fashion, right? So like one starts shifted slightly after the next, but it's just one phrase, but it has that like echoing sort of effect. And it just says, memories aren't all true. Memories can hold lies too.
I am the guardian of those memories. I am the guardian of the forgotten. I am the guardian of those who will never be remembered by anyone. I am the guardian of the lost. Those memories may be lies, but they were real to the spirits who held them.
What about the memories of those things that never were?
Well, if they weren't, they couldn't be.
Memories
You can't have a memory that doesn't exist.
Exactly.
Of course you can.
No.
Things that weren't can be now, though.
Everything is created from the center. Both past and future are written at the same time.
Where is the center? Does it have an exit to this place?
The center of creation. Now that's a question worth asking.
Any directions, like a north or a south? No? Okay.
Just portentous void. Oh, yep.
If we could find the center of creation, we would murder it before it began.
That's not ominous at all.
What are you?
We are fragments of the dark.
Great.
I'm fragments of the forgotten. We should hang out sometime.
You shouldn't.
I mean,
If I may
Ollie,
make a suggestion.
yeah, Ollie has a good point. Probably we shouldn't hang out. I feel like a very murdery vibe from you. We should probably leave.
We feel a kinship, Ollie.
Oh no.
That's probably fair. Yeah.
Do you have murder hobbies, Ollie?
Do you have murder hobbies?
I wouldn't call them murder hobbies.
That's what
Also,
someone who just
Casual fascination.
Also, to clarify, I wouldn't say that the dark necessarily is murdery so much as all-consuming corruption, kind of.
I was still stuck on the fact that it's like, I wouldn't say murder hobbies is exactly what someone who has murder hobbies would say.
All right. No, that's very fair. That's very fair.
Oh, this is delightful.
But yeah, having possibly interacted with people even adjacent to this place. This place sucks more than I do. So where's that door?
Well, logically up, but logically no.
I feel like logically is not an option we've got right now.
What if the way out is down?
Well, then I guess we start digging. Swimming?
Memory Cat goes quickly like, no, I do know how to swim. Okay, let's do this.
Shivan starts kicking around at the water. Assumed water. Does it have a smell?
Yeah. It has a smell. It's sickly sweet. Like that faint smell of rot and corruption that has that sweet smell of like rotting fruit, like that's just beginning to turn.
Yeah.
Sort of gets stuck in the back of your nasal cavity.
Yeah, it lingers.
I am going to kneel and try and feel about under the water, see what we're standing on.
Yeah, okay. It has the texture, it's very smooth. Almost not like glass, because that would be slippery with the water. Like a really, really polished stone. But you can't feel any joins anywhere. It's all one piece.
And so Sivan, while she's, been kicking around in the water, she kind of crouches down. And you know how cats do when they're just like patting at something? She's going to start doing that at the surface of the water to see if she can like detect any specific magical weirdness to it. Like whatever natural thing it's got going.
Yep. Okay. So let's say, so you're trying to like both kind of, sense and understand any magical aspect to this. I'm going to keep the challenge hidden on this one. You don't know the level of whatever effect might be. But you can apply your understanding non-codified magic here. Because that encompasses natural magic and things like that. So you've got a venture of 1. You can spend from your intellect pool. So you can spend 1 bene from intellect. So you've depleted that pool, but you can take one of your recovery actions.
Can I use my forte ability, prowess? It'll add 3 to accuracy, movement, perception, or intellect.
Absolutely, you can do that.
Okay.
So you have to spend 2 sorcery to activate it.
Okay.
And your sorcery is also depleted.
Okay.
What you can do, so you've got your recovery actions.
Yeah.
So you've got 2 that take just 1 action to do, so like a couple of seconds, right? Like 1 round if it was in combat. You've got a 10-minute and a 1 hour. You don't have to use those in order, so you could decide, I'm going to take my 10-minute recovery, right? If you want to just spend 10 minutes like catching your breath and re-centering yourself. And a recovery action lets you replenish 1 pool of your choice.
Okay. Well then.
So like you might do it with sorcery.
Yeah. I'm gonna take a moment, so I'll recover that sorcery. So I can use my
check out the 10-minute
prowess ability. Since my pool's cap naturally is 1 for intellect.
I think it overflows. You can have more than what your pool total is, because this is a magical effect, so it works kind of like temporary HP does in D&D.
All right. And since it's a silver magic, would it be affected by the current card?
That's a good question, because I actually should have played a new card because we've changed locations.
All right.
So that would have hindered it, but we'll play a new card, which there's no... I think I've seen the preview of this while it loads. There's no coincidence in the actuality. and the Sooth cards seem to have an uncanny ability to replicate the situation we are in. I have played the Endless Maze.
Fantastic.
Which for being the fact that you're all stuck in a dark place that you don't know where you are is oddly appropriate. So no, it is not affected. Magic of the Blue is now enhanced, and red is hindered. Secrets, Ravens, Books, and Flame. So if those apply to you, then any ventures will be at +1, which I think is none of you. Okay, so yeah, so you can spend the 2 sorcery.
Okay.
And then yes, then your your intellect will be at 3.
And I'm gonna spend.
So you're gonna spend
We're allowed to
1.
spend more than 1 from a pool, right?
No, you can actually only spend 1. There's things you can get as a character as you advance to let you spend more, but as a starting character, you can only spend 1.
Okay. So I'm gonna spend 1 from intellect.
Yeah, but you can also spend 1 from sortilege to add dice. So like adding magical power into what you're doing.
Okay, then I will do that. So I bumped down whatever the challenge is by 2 potentially.
That's right, and you're rolling 2 dice.
Okay.
Remember which one is the additional dice, because that's the magical one that might add flux. If you roll a 0.
Okay, so the normal one is 8.
Okay.
Magic one is 1.
Okay. All right, so you didn't trigger any flux, and you've got 1 success, and in this case, you're sort of just... It's not overcoming a magical challenge, it's understanding it, so I think you only need 1 success. As you're sort of feeling around on the floor and sort of attuning yourself to this space, this place is probably smaller than it appears. It seems infinite because you're in total darkness, but you think that it's actually a relatively confined space. It is some sort of, call it an entryway. Like Fartown, it's a pocket realm. It's a half world. It's a bubble off of Indigo, sitting, bubbling off of Fartown, like Fartown bubbles off of Indigo, and it seems close to what's known as the bleed, where sort of the edges of Fartown bleed out into this chaotic swirl of magical energies. But I say it's an entryway because the edges of this space where they bleed out seem to border on the dark, on the abyss, that which stands outside of the path of suns and the realm of suns, and is home of the demons of the dark, that unlike the demons of the red, utterly loathe existence itself and want nothing more for it to end. The most deceptive of all demons. But the good news is the floor, it's thin. It is a floor, and there is definitely something on the other side.
Can I try and attack the floor with Demon Shriek?
You probably can. Demon Shriek assaults a nearby being.
Oh,
the floor might not be a being, although I will remind people to look at their ephemera and incantations.
Well,
because Shivan has one that might be very appropriate.
So, since reality is just another river to ford, and
That's
I'm
right.
banking on this being thin, as I have hopefully correctly deduced, so I'm just gonna, I guess, yeet myself through the floor.
That's right. All right. So you sort of just bring this little bit of magic to your mind that entered it while you were meditating. And as you do, as you sort of like throw yourself at the floor, yeeting yourself at the floor, your form blurs and sort of liquefies and fades into seeming nothingness as it worms its way in between the very molecules that make up the floor, sliding in between the infinitesimally small spaces, and then plops out the other side, and you find yourself in a room that seems very familiar. What did you do while you were in the gray? So when your character was not thinking of themselves as a magical Vislae, but just in our world of shadow with a mundane job, what did she do?
I imagine she reflected much of, well, at least a piece of what she is in Indigo, and was somewhat itinerant, but like less so about like living space and more so about what she did. So probably a courier or something.
Okay. So you find yourself in like a reception area of a building. And you're in your courier's uniform. And there's people waiting, and there's a reception desk, and like ungodly music playing over like a radio. And it's very strange. Like, you sort of have vague memories of being in the gray, and you may have even got pulled back to it since escaping. That happens. And usually in those cases, it's really hard to remember that you're a Vislae while you're in the gray, right? It's hard to remember who you are. But in this case, you don't have that trouble. Like, you've found yourself wearing this clothing and in this like very gray space. But you have the absolute linkage to what happened moments ago. So Siobhan slides through the floor, and then Ollie in memory, you don't hear anything. What are you doing?
I just pictured Siobhan just like belly flopping and going, "This book empty, yeet!" and going through the floor.
And I want it known that the sound effect as she hit the water was splort.
Splort. Perfect.
Splort.
There's more whispers out of the darkness that just says, "This is a place of secrets and lies and truth. It's secrets all the way down, buried and buried. Buried beneath Fartown."
Got any free samples?
Would you like a secret, Ollie?
I mean, twist my arm, why don't you, kinda?
What would you offer in return, Ollie?
See, there's the problem. Don't really have a lot to offer right now. I'm a little strapped waiting for paychecks.
Well, I can think of one thing you could offer.
Yeah, I'm sure you could.
Would you like to take a little piece out into the world?
And I am legitimately very tempted by this right now. I'm gonna have to rain check on that one. Gotta get my bearings first. Got a lot on my plate. Got editors on my ass, all that stuff.
It's not a big ask, just a little piece. And you can feel something sort of like thump against your like shoe.
Do not like that. I'm legitimately gonna try and ignore it while I find the section of floor that she even went through. This is a dark, dank, dingy place, and these are two lovely people who don't deserve to be in dark, dank, dingy places.
Aw, well, this is so wholesome. We're in a world of corruption, and that's really wholesome.
I'd like to point out I deserve to be here. This is my shtick, but the gross must protect the sweet, as it were.
Yeah, I was like, and memory is like, if all it, because they all were sticking together until Siobhan like belly flopped and sporked down. Memory had a hold of her hand, and she still very much got Ollie's hand. Is kind of like, no.
Yeah. On that note, the moment she even went through, like, Ollie's been like, clinging on to y'all and whatnot. Like, I am slight death gripping, just sort of like, no.
This is fine. We're fine. Everything is fine.
I sort of mutter under my breath, yeah, we can lie here. It's fine.
Yeah, we're good. We're fine. This is fine.
So ignoring the pseudopod on my foot, just kind of like feeling around, looking for a hollow bit of floor.
Can I identify anything about these beings as well?
Oh, absolutely, you can. Because you, like, just know things. You can speak their language. These are definitely some form of demonic entity from the dark.
Me and spirits, we've always been like... I live to do that Chandler Bing reference in every game. We've always been like... They are definitely... I relay this to Ollie. It's like, I know this is pretty obvious, but they're definitely demonic.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I've been sitting here trying to pretend like they're just spirits of the grave that are really good liars, but yeah, I figured around the time my heart fell out my butt.
And Memory just like kind of... Memory just looks down like concerned. Is like, oh...
Oh God, I speak in so much metaphor. It's fine. I'm
All
lying
right.
again.
So you're searching around. So you've got a level of skill in searching.
Yes.
And all right. So you can use that. You can spend Bene from intellect.
I am.
Again, the level
Cool.
here is hidden.
The level's what?
The
Hidden?
level the level of the challenge is hidden. It's
Okay.
not open.
Yeah, I will go ahead and empty out my intellect pool because I am invested in getting the reasonable people out of here, and then maybe coming back later because we're in a spot right now. But
That's right. And are you spending any like sortilege or?
I am very tempted, but I don't think so this time.
Okay,
So just the intellect and the searching skill.
that's right.
Got an 8, so a 10.
Okay, so you're searching around, and unlike how it felt before, perhaps because of how Shivan sort of molecularly transposed themselves through the floor, maybe perhaps it weakened that barrier a little bit, sort of the passage of that magic through. And so it's not quite hollow, but you can feel an area that when you push on it, it metaphysically gives as opposed to physically, because it definitely seems like this is a magical barrier that you would have to get through, but you can feel it's a little bit weaker there. There's a crack, as it were.
Okay. I'm gonna like tap at it with the heel of my shoe a bit. Relay this to Memory. There might be a hole here. If we fall, I'm sorry, but
Memory's like, no, it's cool, but it's a demon town or falling down. I would take falling down at this point.
that's reasonable. We're experienced in it at this point.
Wait, can we like jump up and like stamp down at the same time?
Real talk, that's what I was thinking.
Yay!
I am also trained in breaking things, so
It's a valuable skill. This has shattered a spider to mirror before.
realistically, at this point, I would normally say something to the effect of, you ever want to just break something beautiful? But nope, not here. Nuh-uh.
Excellent. All right, so you're going to attempt to break your way through, punching a hole, stomping a hole through a layer of reality. So I'm going to give you basically a +1 from memory's help, and your skill in breaking objects. So that will be a venture starting out at 2. You can spend from your physicality pool to enhance that, and this is, unless you're going to take the approach of like you got spells, you might be using a spell here, because this is definitely a magical effect. So you're going to need 2 successes. Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, I was in the wrong tab. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be using a spell just yet, because a lot of my things that ruin things ruin smaller things than floors, but I'm definitely spending from sortilege, and let's empty out physicality while we're in here too.
Okay.
Just yeet both of ourselves.
All right, so you've got a venture of 3 and rolling 2 dice.
All right, let's get the first flux out of the way. So mundane die is a 7, magic is a 1, so that's 9 and 3 or something.
Yeah, so you crack down on the floor, you can feel it sort of give, but you don't break through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm going to spend my 1 round rest to take a breather, get my physicality up. I don't have any cardio. This has been rough for me.
Right.
Can I use the same the recovery action?
Absolutely. Yep.
Sweet.
I would suggest it.
Does that refresh all your pools or just a certain amount?
Just one. One
Excellent.
pool.
Then I will.
Yeah, it's different than Cypher, where you roll like a d6 and like would distribute those bene among pools. Instead, it just refreshes a pool. Yeah, but you also don't get hurt by depleting pools like you do in Cypher, because you've got separate injuries, wounds.
I have refresh physicality because we might need it.
Yeah, no, that's fair. So booting our way through didn't work. Do I vomit acid now, or...
Vomit acid, vomit acid, vomit... I mean, whatever you want to do. I'm always too excited about the acid vomit.
So I'm going to, again, holding memory and like pulling both of us back away from the hole, because this burning acidic ooze covers a small area, and I assume it'll sink pretty hard into the water, but I don't want to like burn our shoes off or something.
Yeah. Okay, perfect.
So yeah, I'm going to use Quiddity of Corrosion, which I believe red magic is depleted right now, which is a little awkward, but...
Yes, red magic is hindered. So you're going to spend 6 sorcery.
Mm-hmm.
And so your venture is going to be 5 instead of 6. I'm still going to let you apply your breaking objects skill, because you're still attempting to break the floor just by different means. So
this
that's
is
a venture of 6.
my thing.
In this case, if you wanted to spend from a pool, I'm going to say it would be accuracy, because it's like how accurate you are with your vomit of corrosion.
Yeah, let's go for it. Got these beanies for a reason.
So it's a venture of 7, and you're rolling 2 dice because you're using a spell, but you could add sortilege to roll 3 if you wanted.
Oh, you can't just tempt me like that. Yeah, I'm gonna add sortilege.
You gotta go big or go home.
Yeah. Cool. Major flux incoming. No flux. So I've got mundane is a 3, magic is 2 and a 4. So that's
that's gonna be like 10 as your lowest.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and then 11 and so so you manage to like narrowly spew this in just the right place to like hit in like the cracks in reality, so it fizzles and then hisses through, and part of the floor falls out like sort of beneath you, and you fall through, and there's a gush of water. And Shivan, what you see is them fall from the ceiling, but like as if they fell through the drop ceiling with a bunch of water, right? So like those like the ceiling tiles like crumble into paste and like fall all around them, and they're covered in it. And then the ceiling flickers and like resets itself as if nothing had happened. And no one around you, because the other people in this waiting room appear to notice at all. They didn't even look. In fact, they've not even been looking at you the whole time you're here.
Hey guys. Sorry about that. Again, hindsight. I really should have thought about how to get y'all through too.
We figured it out.
Yeah. Do you know Ollie can vomit blood?
Yeah, he did it on that chair.
Oh, you did.
Not just a chair.
I never remember things. Yay, irony. It's like this place around us, they're not reacting to us. We've fallen through a ceiling. The demon people said, haha, this place is full of secrets and lies. I feel like this is one of the lies. I feel like we're Dante's Infernoing this.
So the reception desk, right, where there's like a receptionist sitting there, it's got like a corporate logo on it, and it says EMC Systems is what it says, which is weird. You wouldn't call anything that in the actuality, but in the gray. And there's like posters hanging on the wall with like big computer servers, but like picture if you were watching like a 60s movie about computer servers, right? Like things that take up just massive entire rooms, and so it has that vibe, but there's a bit of a mismatch because the rest of the decor here is sort of more like 80s-ish, but there's like bits and pieces because it has, for all intents and purposes, aspects of the gray, so it's all lies, so it doesn't make any sense because you feel like you're not embedded in the lie as if you were in shadow. You can see it for what it is. It's all fake. In fact, it really does look fake. This whole place looks like a movie set or something. Like the walls are flimsy. Everything that looks like it might be expensive or rich is just a thin veneer that maybe would look good on camera, but not up close. And like those people, they're not real. They're just mannequins and props. But one thing that does look real is there's that EMC Systems, but then there's a logo in the middle, which doesn't make sense, but it looks familiar. And there's a tiny logo of like a nested group of leaves, sort of forming almost like a cornucopia shape. And they're all different colors. And in fine filigree written on it says Emotion Mills Consortium.
Says what? One more time? Sorry.
It says Emotion Mills Consortium. And you know that the Emotion Mills Consortium is a monopolistic conglomerate in Indigo that has the absolute legal monopoly on the importation of emotion leaves. Emotion leaves are exactly what they sound like. It's like a little leaf-like thing that holds a pure emotion or concept, and people eat them. They get put into food and things like that. It's just a thing in indigo. They get manufactured in the emotion mills in the archipelago that sort of goes out into the abstraction that borders on the blue, so the place of concepts and dreams. And this one company has the absolute monopoly on importing them into the city of Saturnine.
Wonder what this is doing here. I'm just gonna pick up one of these cards.
So it looks like gray here, but
Except
Emotion
this logo.
Yeah, but the Emotion Mills Consortium operates out of indigo or blue. So
it operates out of Saturnine. I'm trying to remember what part of the city. They've got two different places.
Glass, I think
the Strange Glass. Yeah, they've got things in two different districts. They've got their like offices, their main offices, and then
I think the mills are in the Fade.
The mills are in the Fade, yeah. That's sort of like their import-export warehouses and stuff. Mm-hmm. But yes, the Strange Glass is where their corporate offices are.
So good news. I think we're, for some definitions, home. Bad news. I don't know why this place looks like the gray.
And
Shivan, when you picked up a card off the desk, so like the logo was kind of on the desk, but yeah, you pick up like the stack of business cards that are there, and it's got the same thing where there's a fake logo, EMC Systems, but buried inside it is the logo of the Emotion Mills Consortium, and there's a name and title, and it says District Manager, Import Export, and it says Mr. Ira, and then Strange Glass District.
I think
and
you
Mr.
might want to
Ira
look at
is
this.
IRA.
Just gonna set that right in there with the cigarettes.
Unraveling a mystery.
Are there any windows in this place?
Yeah, but they're fake windows. They don't they look like a window, but you look at it and it's clearly like set decoration. It's like a painting, or actually when you look at it, it flickers a little bit and it's like a screen.
Can
like a TV screen.
I kick the window screen?
Yeah, of course.
Nice.
I knew I'd be a bad influence on you all yet.
I'm learning from Ollie to break things.
Hey,
All right.
Sometimes you just want to break stuff.
Sometimes,
Yep.
yeah.
So if you're just kicking it, actually, I should play another card because you have all entered this new space. And we have the Questing Knight, which is the apprentice. So all ventures right now are at -1 for everybody.
Oh dear.
But the Questing Knight is a stalwart and focused individual seeking justice. So, he just hasn't learned a lot yet. He's the apprentice. But it's about justice, journey, determination, and achieving goals. So you're at -1. But yeah, you're gonna kick the screen. I think you've got no relevant skills, but you can spend a bene from your physicality pool, so that would bring your venture back to 0.
Yay!
And you can spend from sortilege to add magical power, which would let you roll more than 1 dice. Which is probably a good idea.
And I will do that.
All right.
Okay. Magic dice was a 6, and normal. Oh yay! Normal dice was a 9.
Okay.
No, 6. Both are 6s.
Both 6s. All right. You put your boot. I'm assuming boot.
Like
shoe?
Doc Martens combat style boot.
Yeah, that's knowing you, Val. That's kind of what I figured.
I'm so glad.
Yeah. So yeah, you kick out, you lash out, put your boot through the screen. It cracks, it shatters, and it like falls, sort of revealing this cutout. And you see a gap and like a brick wall.
Can I climb through?
Yeah, absolutely. You can, and you could feel there was a little bit of a magical thing that you kicked through, and you kicked the screen, and it turned off, and then it disappeared. Like it when it fell and cracked, and you look at it, it sort of looked like mocked up to be like a TV from the Gray, like a flat screen TV. But then you see it's an etheric device, like the kind of thing you would find in Saturnine. Most people don't watch TV, but the few people that have one, it would be something like this. And yeah, you climb through, and there's a gap, and it's like being backstage. Like you can see the back of this set, right, that you've climbed out through, and there's a brick wall, and there's a door, and it has an exit sign over it.
I'm gonna poke my head through the gap as guys, there's an exit door here. It feels sketchy, but also, what are you gonna do?
I feel like sketchy in a vacuum, but comparative to what we've been dealing with.
You make a good point.
Exciting is what it is.
All right, let's go on an adventure.
Adventure.
All right. And so you open the door.
Oh no.
And it opens.
That's not a core book.
No, it is not.
I'm afraid.
I would be if we didn't just come from the dark. Like,
I mean, yeah, everything is up from here. Except for the abyss. The actual abyss.
Yeah. And the abyss isn't literally down, it's like outside.
Just fall through and never come back.
the real abyss was the friends we made along the way.
That's right.
Ah.
All right. No, that's not the right. Yeah, sure. So you open the door and you step outside, and there was like this interior brick wall, but when you step out and sort of look at this building behind you, it's almost like it's made of paper and like folded like origami. And in fact, you look around and you're surrounded by buildings that look like they're made out of folded paper in various origami shapes. Most of them don't have any foundations. They're actually just, this one did, it's flat on the ground, but most of them are just like anchored and tethered, and they kind of float in the air, drifting a little bit in the breeze. And there's like a breeze that comes from nearby that carries the scent of ocean, but it's the Alone, this ocean, vast ocean that washes up on the shores of Saturnine. And you can hear sort of sounds of things being made in various of the buildings around you, and somehow you went from Fartown to outside of Indigo to Zardum, which is a totally different district of the city. It's an oceanfront district on the Alone, and it's known for these origami buildings and for like craftsmen and artisans, but also like poets and musicians. So having some sort of sound stage kind of thing where maybe people were putting on some kind of play or other sort of entertainment would not be totally out of the question. And that's where we're going to end, as you can eventually choose to go home and ruminate and take time to reflect on these mysteries. But you've taken a little bit of a journey.
This is the
All right, so let's
spin-off
go through.
where we all become real estate and be like, it's a beautiful oceanfront property.
That's right.
I can finally work on my novel.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so we can go through and you can remind people or promote anything you want to promote and give your favorite moment from the game, and we'll touch on people's character development and pursuing arcs and all that sort of thing. And let's start with Ollie.
Yeah.
Or
so
with Chase, rather.
I'm Chase. I write various Twitter tweet length microfictions on IS_microfictions at Twitter. As far as favorites, it's hard, but I think I can pick a genre of favorite. And it was the whole crew's just kind of desire to just get action going. Like when we saw a liar spirit, immediately, let's summon a liar spirit. Like, get hands on, get in there. We find a secret door, yeet ourselves through the freaking secret door, find a floor we can go through because we don't want to be in the dark, yeet ourselves through the floor. I enjoy just the almost physical comedy, the pratfalledness of us as people.
I'm so
Excellent,
glad
yeah.
that's coming across.
Yes, the GM's favorite thing, which is just do the thing. Just press the button, do the thing, go through the door. Absolutely.
Let's just go.
That's right. All right, so we can also touch on your character arc, which is to repay this secret, and the best way to do that is to get new secrets. So I think you've probably advanced on that. You've stumbled on the path of some. Perhaps this is a nest of secrets. There might be multiple secrets that are all tied into this, I think.
And there's definitely that slight fear of going into debt to a possibly more dangerous loan shark to repay, but it's just tantalizing.
Yeah. I mean, one thing will be what happened to the entrance, because it's a book in a shop that was collapsing.
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily have the secret in hand, but you've got like a thing. So I think that's definitely worth an acumen.
Thanks.
And for your thing, is there a suggestion of getting joy for being in contact with like demons of the dark and that kind of corruption?
It's very similar. I think that this might have been. I think that I'm definitely going to go with the joy on this one. It is a little bit more nebulous, but I think that the offer of this like possible nest of secrets, even at the risk of honestly showing those around me just how messed up I like am.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that I've been like hiding it or anything, but it's been like funny, and I just like kill potted plants or whatever, not necessarily like deal with demons of the dark personally.
That's right.
But yeah,
Okay.
I think that definitely there was a rush to this. I think that Ollie got a joy.
Absolutely. Excellent. I love it. All right. Forda. What was your...
Okay.
You can promote anything you got to promote, and your favorite moment. We'll start with those.
Well, in the next week or so, I'm going to be uploading my Smogus drawings that I've been doing for the month. And those will be going up on Instagram, which is Lex Arts with 2 X's. And yeah, favorite moment is probably a toss-up between the oh boy, look at that in the photo, and like, you know, the whole sniffing out of the door, and like Memory's entire like expansion on her being, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if I was gonna pick a moment, some of the like random disjointed phrases that Val was like pulling out for like memory, almost like a computer like cycling through things, was awesome. I liked it. All right, so your character arc is uncover a mystery, right? I think pursuing a secret. I think you've definitely advanced that. You've like uncovered the first stage of who knows how many secrets and mysteries, but having, hidden spaces and demons of the dark and the Emotion Mills Consortium and all these weird connections within Saturnine is, I think you've definitely advanced that. So that would be worth an acumen. So you can mark that on the character advancement tab, and you can just put in 1 in the acumen section. And was there anything that would bring Shivan particular joy or despair? So not just happy, but...
I can't think of anything. I mean, just beyond making headway in her personal quest, but like...
Yeah, and that's what the acumen is sort
Yeah.
of reflecting.
No joy, no despair, just going, doing.
Yep, okay, sounds good. Yeah, I mean, you did use prowess for the first time.
It did, and that was exciting, but I don't know that would...
Yeah.
Joy.
Yeah, I was just looking at some of the suggestions there. Okay, so excellent. All right, Val.
Hi, everybody. I'm Val. I am, again, the Nerdy Niffler on Twitter. I am in this slot next week, running my first ever stream D&D game. Well, it's Monster of the Week. I'm very nervous about it. It's fine. Everything is fine. We take deep breaths. We mildly freak out off camera for the first 20 minutes. It's fine. But that is a bunch of American werewolves in London, which is a Victorian setting, and a bunch of American werewolves try and solve a mystery in Victorian London. And I'm very excited and very nervous. And I'm also on variant roles on Sunday because I live here now for Gothic Brunch. I think that's at 12 CDT.
12 Eastern.
12 Eastern.
EDT. Yeah.
So 12 Eastern, we broke into the library. We got told we had to leave Crete Hall because we messed too much stuff up. Everyone is succumbing to blue rot. We're going back to the people we got caught breaking into their house to try and reason with them. It's a wild time. Oh, and this session was so good. My favorite moments, I can't pick. I have favorite moments from like Ollie and making the deals with the spirits, because it was really interesting to see Ollie's character and being so tempted and learning more about him. Like Siobhan just like smelling and figuring out the door, like dropping the book, was just so good. It was like, it's like showing the Weaver powers, and it was brilliant. I loved the memory bit that worked out so well when you were like, it's a dark void where you fall, and literally 20 minutes before this game I had figured out that was the memory that I had recovered, and which was causing me to recover from a trauma, and then it was like there again. That whole bit, and finding out part of memory's name is Vero, was like, this is such a good session. I had so much fun with you guys.
Perfect. So I think in terms of your character arcs, yours is mostly about recovery, but I think assuming that like the whole getting lost in the memory, which causes anguish, is like the impetus for memory to be like, ooh, I need some bed rest.
Yeah.
We'll give it to you now, but basically the deciding that you need to like rest for a period of time would be the first acumen on that arc. And even before the next session, you can basically tell me what she's gonna do in terms of self-care, because like the first few are pretty easy to progress through to get acumen. And then joy or despair, you automatically will get joy because you summoned your first entity of the highest level that you've summoned, I think. So
Yeah.
so that is worth a joy as a goetic.
Ah, giddies. I summoned a new friend who was definitely a liar, but that's fine. We're friends now.
That's right.
By nature.
That's right.
You have many friends who are liars.
Exactly. Inside, aren't we all slightly liars? That sounded way more like inspirational in my head. We're all fine.
All right, and yes, I am Dan at MadSciDM on Twitter. I am a TTRPG content creator and streamer, mostly streamer, primarily running Cypher System and Invisible Sun, and a little D&D as well. Unless I'm guest appearing, you'll find me here on Variant Roles running games, typically on Thursdays and Saturdays, and occasionally behind the scenes running tech for other people. We will not be here with MCG Mixtape the next 2 weeks because Val is going to take the time slot to run her game, as she promoted earlier. And there's a number of other fine, fantastic people from Variant Roles who are going to be on that show, wowing us, and I know I'm going to be watching, so that should be fantastic. You can catch me again here on Saturday night running more Invisible Sun as we continue the sort of concluding arc, as it were, of season 1 of As the Suns Burn, where our folks are in the red and dealing with the sodality of Vryn and trying to get some big bad magical rituals and a book called The Treachery of Images, because everything is connected.
No coincidences in the actuality.
No coincidences in the actuality. As they try and recover that for the spear point of the unknowable. And I think basically you can see our schedule here in chat. We're here almost every night of the week for the next little bit. We got tons of content, especially as we go into the weekend. And if you like my shenanigans, then MCG Mixtape through the fall will be running Project VHS, which Val is going to be a player in, which is going to be my Void Horror in Space game. And so if you like movies like Alien and Aliens, and TV shows like The Expanse and Stargate and crazy things like that, then you're going to love it. And I've got a very fine cast of folks, and follow on Twitter for more details. All right, folks, thanks for sticking around. We're going to sign off now, and see you around.